This week on Working Class Foodies, we're going to make barbecued ribs with Lisa from Funny Side Up.
This week on Working Class Foodies.
Now, everyone's got their own way of making ribs, so if this isn't the way that you prefer to do it, that's totally fine. Just let me know in the comments below what your method for making ribs is. We'd love to see how you guys do it. But this is my easiest go-to recipe for ribs. I picked up 2 racks of pork ribs from the Union Square Farmers Market, 1 rack of baby backs, and 1 rack of very thinly sliced pork spare ribs. First thing you want to do is make your marinade. For 2 racks of ribs, start your marinade with 1 cup of liquid. I chose to use a dark beer, but you could use anything from wine, to root beer, to cola, to cherry cola, to beef stock, anything you want. Then I added 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, 2 tablespoons of honey, 2 tablespoons of spice mix. Mine was made by Brendan. He calls it Bad Sadie after his old bulldog, Sadie. And it's mostly chili powder with onion powder and cumin and a few other spices. Then I added in a teaspoon of ground dried mustard. If you don't have any dried mustard on hand, just use a big squirt of your favorite creamy mustard. And a generous pinch of kosher or sea salt. And I also added a dash of cayenne pepper for a little spice. Finally, I added 2 cloves of very finely chopped garlic. And mix this all together. Then I set my marinade aside. For each rack of ribs, arrange 2 pieces of tin foil in a T on a rimmed baking tray. Unpackage your ribs and rinse them off. My baby backs came as a very manageable rack, but the spare ribs were a little bit bigger, so I cut them into sections of 3 to 4 ribs and rinse them off. Lay the ribs meat side down on top of your tinfoil teas and fold the tinfoil up into a boat around the ribs. Then pour about 1/3 cup of your marinade into each of the rib packets. Make sure you get some of the garlic in there. At this point, I like to throw in some fresh herbs. I used rosemary and sage from my garden, but thyme and probably even oregano would work well too. Crimp your packets closed. It's a messy scene, but I think I'm gonna tell her that I'd like to and refrigerate them while your oven preheats. You want to preheat your oven to 250 degrees, so your ribs don't need to marinate for very long. Once your oven is up to temperature, slide the ribs on their baking tray into the oven and braise them for about 2.5 hours or until the meat is just falling off the bones. At this point, you can use your marinade to make a delicious barbecue sauce. Just hold the packets over a saucepan, cut them open, and drain the marinade out. This is normally what I would do, but this week we had Lisa from Funny Side Up joining us, and she was bringing her own delicious homemade barbecue sauce. So instead, I drained the marinade off the ribs for another time, packaged the ribs back up, and popped them in the fridge until Lisa got here. Then it's time to start up your grill. You want to get one side of the grill very, very hot and leave the other side relatively cool. When your coals are ashy but still glowing orange underneath, it's time to put your ribs on the cool side. Set your ribs on the cool side of the grill so they can heat through and glaze them generously with your barbecue sauce. Once the sauce is bubbling on top, flip the ribs over and do the other side. Your ribs are done when they're charred and sticky and heated all the way through, about 5 minutes aside. Cut your ribs into portions of 3 to 4 and dig in.
feel sorry.
Lisa also brought a delicious potato salad. With Lisa's homemade potato salad, some grilled corn on the cob, and a few ice-cold beers, these 2 racks of ribs stretched to make 4 generous portions. The total cost for these 2 racks of ribs came down to $22, which might sound like a lot, but is actually comparable with grocery store prices. Now, green market meat tends to be a little bit leaner and have a slightly more grassy flavor than supermarket meat, which I happen to really like, and I think it goes really well on the grill. And for the same price, why wouldn't you want it? Lisa's barbecue sauce was super affordable too because she made it with all pantry items. Make sure you go over to Funny Side Up and check out her awesome barbecue sauce recipe. Trust me, you will love it. So these barbecue ribs are what I'm making for the 4th of July this year, but let me know in the comments below what you're going to be making for your 4th of July barbecue. And don't forget to subscribe to our new Working Class Foodies channel and to sign up for our newsletter for all sorts of awesome sneak peeks and ways to get involved with the cookbook. And thanks again to Lisa from Funny Side Up for coming over to party with us and for bringing her awesome homemade barbecue sauce. Happy 4th of July, and we'll see you next week on Working Class Foodies. Check out some of our other episodes to find recipes that would go great with this dish by clicking any of these boxes around my face.